Moin. Good morning, everyone. Welcome back to the channel. I am Mace, your host for the programming today on the channel. I'm coming to you from Vancouver Island in beautiful British Columbia, Canada. We're on the west coast. It's a big island, one of the biggest in the world, I believe. This video is on building a house, masonry, and house construction. It's a documentary of German house building, I guess, technology, or at least one aspect of it. One of you guys sent me this video. I appreciate it. There's a link in the description for you if you wish to send me videos as well. That way I can see them. You can also send me messages, anything that you think I might should know. You can contact me there. All right, let's just jump right into it. Hope you're having a wonderful Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, whatever day it is that you're watching this video. And drink water. All right. Just before the video starts.
How is a house built? How does that work? We accompanied the complete construction of a typical German single-family home for more than 6 months. We were involved in
Does it take 6 months to build a typical single-family German home?
every important step, from the first floor work to the finished house. In the first part, the earthworks were carried out and the floor slab was cast. Now the masonry work continues.
So I'm really not a fan of these AI narrators, but let's continue.
In the other corners it happened.
Wow, so this looks like actually a time-consuming process, just this beginning part anyways, because the precision, that's the thing with building anything, you need precision, right? Measurements need to be exact. They can't be off.
The same way.
I'm really unfamiliar with like these types of bricks, and I'm not really familiar with construction either. I've never worked in construction, despite, I mean, I did work in construction a little bit when I was younger, but I was working in stucco, which is like siding on buildings, and it's like that rough type of application that it's put on buildings and stuff like that. Stucco.
Of course, all dimensions for wall openings, for example for windows and doors, must also be observed. The masons have the floor plan for this. Here on the south side of the house there is already the first special feature, 3 floor-to-ceiling windows. The row of bricks must therefore be interrupted here, just like on the front for the front door. The first row is slowly taking shape. The masons work their way from the corners and put stone by stone. But what kind
He's got his cigarette going. Floor-to-ceiling windows.
of stone is that exactly, which is installed here?
Wir bei der Brale haben uns den
We do not work with the external wall insulation system, which is widespread here. Instead, our houses use a so-called Puritan stone, so that's a stone made of clay, in which the thermal insulation is integrated in the stone, with hydrophobic mineral wool. So a solid stone, 30
I was wondering about this because I don't think this type of clay brick is used much here in Canada. You're definitely going to find some like brick houses, but I don't know if these specific manufacturers' bricks would be around. In terms of the insulation is where I was curious, because ours is usually just like wooden walls stuffed with. I mean, yeah, like they're stuffed with the insulation as opposed to it being like within this clay brick.
6.5 centimeters thick, with hydrophobic mineral wool as insulation. That means best sound insulation and best building physical properties, and also the best thermal insulation.
So you get two sides of that coin. You get the good sound insulation and the good thermal insulation.
The bricklayers have made the first course and are already on the second row. So-called thin bed mortar now ensures the non-positive connection between the rows of stones. Ideal for energy-efficient building. High load capacity with a very small joint thickness of approximately 1 mm. The second row is quickly laid. A barrier film against rising damp comes over it again. The two lower rows of stones form the base of the house, which will later be clad. The walls are now protruding over the base. The masons are making good progress thanks to the large-scale bricks.
I'm curious to why it's protrude. Oh, these bricks are larger bricks, the ones that are protruding over the edge there.
But instead of laying row after row now, they first concentrate on the corners of the outer walls.
Just a plain old level. Gotta make sure it's level. It's a lot of bricks. That's gonna be a heavy, heavy house, man. So I guess this isn't one of those houses that you can just put on a trailer and move, right? Have you ever seen one of those? A house literally and it can be transported, just hooked up to a trailer and drag it down the road.
Forming the corners has the advantage that you can easily lay out the plumb lines for the next rows of tiles. The first working day is done.
Wow, that was a lot of progress for one day.
The next morning they continue with the outer walls. The bricklayers place row after row.
Just give us a time lapse of the whole thing. That's
the
so
windows
satisfying.
and lintels are installed.
Right? Just a time lapse of the whole build. That would be so satisfying.
And around noon the bricklayers arrived at the last row on the ground floor. Finally,
Wow.
the pink styrofoam formwork is laid for the concrete ceiling. The formwork also serves as insulation and remains on the building after finishing the ceiling. At the end of the second working day, the outer walls of the ground floor are ready.
Dang. Looks good.
Day 3. Today the interior walls are created. Here too, a bitumen membrane is placed under the walls to protect against rising damp. The stones are so-called vertical perforated bricks in two different versions. For comparison, here both on top of each other. The brick with 17.5 centimeters wall thickness for the load-bearing walls and the narrower brick with 11.5 centimeters for the non-load-bearing walls. The floor plan shows where which stone has to be used. The load-bearing walls run right through the house, between the living room.
What type of materials, like on the outside of the wall and the finished product on the inside? That's what I'm curious.
Guest room, kitchen, and the utility room, and once along to the load-bearing living room wall, and the non-load-bearing walls run between the kitchen, living room, bathroom and the utility room. The walls are set up here just like the outer walls. Cement mortar under the first row, exact leveling of the first stones with laser. From the second row on, thin bed mortar, laser, spirit level, plumb line and constant checking ensure exact, straight walls. Finished. The inner walls are standing. Now the base gets a diffusion open seal before the cladding is coming.
Clean.
Day 4. The scaffolding comes. The base is clad and the masons set up pillars throughout the house to support the ceiling elements. The next morning, exactly at 8 a.m., the crane stands for the ceiling elements. The ceiling elements, so-called semi-finished part ceilings, are approximately 6 centimeters thick reinforced concrete slabs, in which part of the necessary reinforcement has already been inserted. They can be laid quickly and flexibly, depending on the size, but then still need to be concreted. For this, the masons insert additional reinforcement bars.
So yeah, like I said, I don't know much about construction, but I think this is much different than our typical Canadian West Coast home, at least how they're building them nowadays. Like you'll see them up and built in like so fast, and definitely not concrete. Like I think that's kind of a unusual thing for Canada. I'm not 100% sure if that's nationwide or just what I'm exposed to here on the West Coast, but yeah, usually they're just
Firstly, to optimally connect and consolidate the ceiling with the masonry. Secondly, to join the individual ceiling elements together. This creates a stable, closed concrete ceiling after concreting. Only the access to the stairs remains free and has to be boarded accordingly. Once all the reinforcement bars have been laid, everything is connected with wire so that nothing moves during concrete pouring. The ceiling openings for the supply lines, water, heating, electricity which comes to the upper floor also remain free. They get polystyrene covers before concreting. Finished.
I was curious, yeah, how the plumbing system works and getting the power around in the house, because it's with all the brick and the concrete.
The concrete for the ceiling can come.
Here it comes.
A total of approximately 12 cubic meters of concrete flow into the formwork for the approximately 10 by 10 meters ceiling slab. It is important to evenly distribute and prevent air pockets. Therefore, constantly push the concrete back and forth so that the air can escape. The height must of course also be correct and is constantly checked with the laser.
How much does all that concrete weigh?
Done. Now the concrete is compacted with a surface vibrator. The surface vibrator directs high-frequency
Surface vibrator.
vibrations into the concrete. This increases the flowability of the fresh concrete. Air pockets rise to the surface and can escape. This gives the concrete its perfect, dense consistency. Finished. Now the concrete ceiling has to harden. A few days later, the bricklayers start with the upper floor. The construction is the same as on the ground floor. The outer walls are created again with the thermal brick made of Puritan stone with hydrophobized mineral wool. First the corners are created again, then the entire outer walls. However, there are no longer any
This house is going to be a strong house, man. That thing's not going to move.
load-bearing walls inside. All partitions for the master bedroom, dressing room, bathroom, children's room and corridor are built with the narrower, vertically perforated brick with a wall thickness of 11.5 centimeters. After 4 days, the upper floor is also up. As a conclusion, only the
I really want to see like the house finished. I don't know if we're going to get to see that in the video. Like, I want a tour of this house now.
anchor ring plate is missing. For this, the bricklayers have already put a formwork on the top row of bricks, into which reinforcement bars are now being laid. The anchor ring, as the name suggests, runs like a ring around the entire top edge of masonry. This reinforced concrete construction gives the wall stability. The anchor ring plate is used to absorb and transfer horizontal tensile forces such as wind, ground vibrations and the roof load itself. If the concrete is filled, it must be compacted again with the surface vibrator. The masonry work is now complete. The walls of the house stand. Construction time for the 2 floors, 10 days.
Is the roof of the house finished, or does it get like a... I'm looking at the houses around it. So is it going to look like one of these ones on the top with like a triangular roof, or is it going to be just square on top? I'm kind of curious now. That's why I wanted to see. I want to see the finished product. What's the address? I can go look on Google Earth. Do you get Google Earth in Germany? I don't know. It's like I could go look at the house, go out on Street View. Anyways, what do you say, 10 days?
Of the house stand. Construction time for the 2 floors, 10 days.
Impressive. All right. Interesting, man. It's a whole different world. I admire like construction workers and people that do things that have to be precise and perfect, and they build things with their hands and put in that effort. And yeah, it's impressive, right? Architectural soundness. It just looks like an impressive building. It looks structurally very strong, and it's certainly different to the construction projects I've seen around here. So very, very cool. As a Canadian viewer, just like I haven't really seen a house being built in Germany yet. I don't know if that's what all the houses are built like. Maybe you guys can let me know if there's different technologies or how technology has evolved throughout the years, like what our houses used to be built out of to now. Fascination. All right. Later. Choose.